Forget the daily grind. Forget those miserable 5 a.m. ice baths, and honestly, forget the endless hustle. For decades now, we've basically been lied to about what it really takes to be truly productive. Welcome to another explainer. Today, we are diving into a radical, completely science-backed approach that literally flips the script on hard work. I mean, what if the absolute secret to getting way more done isn't actually about doing more, but entirely changing how you feel while you're doing it? Just imagine picking up the hospital phone and hearing your boss breezily say, "Merry Christmas, Allie. Try not to kill anyone." Boom, you're a newly qualified junior doctor. You made a total rookie mistake and forgot to request the holidays off. And now, you've been completely abandoned. You were left entirely on your own to manage a packed, highly stressful hospital ward on Christmas Day. By 10:30 a.m., the ward is in absolute, total chaos. We're talking a massive avalanche of diagnostic reports, a severe cardiac arrest, a stubborn patient screaming for his missing dentures, and someone else shouting for a mysterious woman named Olive. And through all of this, Ali, our junior doctor, is just drowning. See, until this exact point in his life, his strategy for absolutely everything was just work harder. He literally used to recite Muhammad Ali quotes to himself in the bathroom, telling himself to suffer now and live as a champion later. But as he accidentally drops a tray of medical supplies, sending syringes clattering across that damp linoleum floor, he realizes something truly terrifying. The discipline just isn't working. So it poses this terrifying mystery, right? What happens when working harder just stops working? Even when Ali resolved the very next day to simply do more, it made absolutely zero difference. He couldn't plow through his paperwork any faster, and his patients were just getting a highly stressed, incredibly exhausted doctor. But then, he remembered this brilliant piece of advice from an old tutor, Dr. Barkley. If the treatment isn't working, question the diagnosis. And you know what? The diagnosis wasn't a lack of discipline. The diagnosis was the entire productivity system itself. Okay, let's dive right into this with Section 1, the Christmas Day meltdown. Moving on to Section 2, the productivity paradigm shift. Because to solve this burnout crisis, we really need to look at a massive psychological plot twist regarding how success actually works. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that it shows an incredibly simple yet famous experiment. Researchers split volunteers into two groups and asked them to solve a tricky cognitive puzzle known as the candle problem. Group A got nothing, but Group B received a really small, simple gift, a bag of candy. The whole theory was that the candy would put them in a slightly better mood, and the results? No way. The group that got the candy, the ones whose moods were just subtly improved, were significantly more successful at solving the puzzle. Feeling good didn't just make them smile, it actively and measurably boosted their creativity and problem-solving success. And that brings us to a monumental concept in positive psychology, pioneered by Professor Barbara Fredrickson back in the late 90s. It's called the broaden and build theory. You see, positive emotions aren't just these fleeting little feelings that come and go. When we feel good, our minds literally broaden. We take in way more information, we see totally new possibilities, and our overall awareness expands. And over time, this actually allows us to build a deep, permanent reservoir of cognitive, physical, and social resources, things like resilience and problem-solving skills. Positive emotions are literally the biological fuel that drives the engine of human flourishing. But wait, it goes even deeper. We also have what's called the undoing hypothesis. Researchers discovered that people who watch positive, uplifting films recover from stress significantly faster. Like their elevated heart rates and blood pressure return to normal baseline levels way quicker than folks who watch sad or even just neutral films. Just think about that for a second. If stress is the ultimate disease of our modern hustle culture, then feeling good is literally the scientifically proven cure. So the crucial point is this. After analyzing data from over 275,000 individuals across hundreds of published papers, researchers definitively answered the ultimate question. Look, we are told our entire lives that if we achieve success, well, then we'll finally be happy, right? But the data proves the exact opposite. Success doesn't lead to feeling good actually leads to success. Section 3, flipping the confidence switch. Let's get right into the actionable toolkit part of our explainer. So when you're hit with massive self-doubt, just ask yourself this rapid-fire question. What would it look like if I were really confident at this? The author of our source material used to use this exact trick as an amateur walk-around magician at university parties. He was absolutely terrified of approaching strangers to do card tricks, but he would take a deep breath and just internally flip this confidence switch. He reminded himself that he didn't need to actually be confident. He just had to play the part of a confident magician. And without fail, acting as if he was totally competent completely shifted his attitude, and more importantly, his results. We so often let the overwhelming fear of not being good enough completely stop us from even trying. Take Adele, for example. Before she was a global icon, she suffered from absolutely paralyzing stage fright. Palms damp with sweat, completely terrified of facing a sea of thousands of people. That anxiety almost completely derailed her career before it started. Waiting until you feel 100% confident to begin is a massive blocker. The real solution is what psychologist Albert Bandura calls inactive mastery, which basically just means learning and compounding your confidence simply by doing. You have to become your own hype team. You take the action first, even if you're shaky, and the confidence follows. You definitely don't need the first draft to be a masterpiece. You just need to start. Which brings us to section 4. Overcoming the starting block. This is probably the most universal hurdle we all face. The British have this absolutely brilliant phrase for that paralyzing feeling when you're staring down a massive, daunting to-do list. CBA, or can't be arsed. It's that widespread, heavy sensation where you just entirely lack the motivation to start a task. We've all been there, right? You CBA to write that essay. You CBA to practice the guitar. You CBA to hit the gym. It is a massive, incredibly frustrating blocker. Your brain looks at the whole mountain of work and just flat out refuses to take a single step. And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate weapon against the CBA feeling. It's an ancient, incredibly powerful trick, the 5-minute rule. You basically trick your brain by making a ridiculously tiny commitment. You just tell yourself, okay, I am only going to focus solely on this task for 5 minutes. That's it. The first step is always the hardest part, for sure, but by lowering the barrier to entry to just 5 little minutes, you completely smash that overwhelming fear. And once those 5 minutes are up, the inertia is gone, the friction is broken, and almost always you'll naturally decide to just keep going. Moving into our final chapter, section 5, the alignment experiment. Because a lot of times that inertia happens simply because we lack clear steps to follow right now. To really cut through the overwhelm, you can set daily alignment quests. You simply break your day down into 3 core areas: health, work, and relationships. So if you're a student, maybe your quests for today are a 30-minute run for your health, an extra hour of studying for your work, and grabbing a quick coffee with a friend to nurture a relationship. Or if you're a parent, maybe it's a quick home workout, finishing a big presentation, and some undivided playtime with the kids. By giving yourself just 1 to 3 crystal clear, simple actions for the day, you completely eliminate that heavy cognitive load of wondering, what should I do next? It's not about doing 100 things. It's about doing the few things that actually align with what matters to you. Let's move to the next slide and see how this builds. To maintain that clarity and protect our energy, sometimes we literally have to make things harder, specifically our distractions. These are called friction experiments. If you want to protect your focus, add intentional friction to your bad habits. Uninstall those wildly addictive social media apps from your phone. Force yourself to use the clunky, annoying web browser version instead. Or log out completely so you literally have to type your long password every single time. That momentary, forced pause is often exactly what you need to break the mindless scrolling cycle and redirect your energy back to your daily quests. Ultimately, all of this culminates in one absolutely core philosophy. This isn't about memorizing some rigid discipline system or treating this explainer like another massive to-do list. The whole goal is to transform your work from a drain on your resources into a source of real energy. As the quote right here perfectly sums up, don't rote learn your way to feel-good productivity. Experiment your way. It's really about finding the joy in your own unique situation. Try these tools out. Evaluate what effect they have on your mood, keep what works perfectly for you, and just toss out the rest. You are basically strategically stumbling your way toward a better, more productive life. So I want to leave you with this highly provocative thought to ponder today. Knowing that success doesn't bring happiness, but that feeling good actively creates success. Knowing that you can effortlessly trick your brain into starting with just a 5-minute rule, and that you can be your own ultimate hype team just by playing the part, what will your first experiment be today? The science is absolutely clear here. You do not have to settle for just staying afloat in a dark sea of burnout. You can actually learn how to swim. Go out there, start experimenting, and honestly, just start feeling good.